7. He will be
I'm going to
speaking.
7 minutes, 5 to 7.
7 minutes, and the title of your speech is
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. How appropriate.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I'm Rob Ferry. I'm here to talk to you today about Memorial Day. Memorial Day is a significant holiday to me personally, and I think it's one of the most underrated holidays we have during the course of the year. How many veterans do we have in the audience tonight? If you are a veteran, please raise your hand. Wow, we got quite a few folks. I just want to say thank you very much for your service. Service life is not an easy life. There's a lot of sacrifice. It has to be made by the service member and their family, and they should not be taken lightly. We should always remember our service folks. Memorial Day is about remembering our fallen soldiers, our fallen airmen, our fallen sailors, our fallen Marines. We need to remember that all these services. In addition, I like to think about Memorial Day when I think about the firefighters that put themselves in harm's way, the police officers that put themselves in harm's way. We have individuals that work for federal agencies that go out and put themselves on the line as well. And I think that's something to keep in mind. Memorial Day began right after the Civil War. Around 1865, it was actually called Decoration Day back in those days, and it was in several different states. And depending on the state and the battles fought was when they actually celebrated or actually honored Memorial Day. Memorial Day came into being when a prominent general by the name of John A. Logan in 1866 on May 5th proclaimed that there should be a national day which would honor the fallen. So he recommended this and proclaimed this in 1866. Remember, back in those days, generals were considered what rock stars are today. There's at least with there's their fame and popularity and whatnot. He proclaimed this on May 5th of 1866, and by May 30th of 1866, the holiday was widely recognized nationwide, and it's been honored from that point on. After World War II, the name started changing somewhat. It used to be referred to as Decoration Day and became Memorial Day. In 1967, our Congress formally adopted Memorial Day as a federal holiday. And then again, Congress hit upon the holiday in 1968 with a holiday bill that it touched upon 3 holidays. One was Memorial Day, the other one was Veterans Day, and the other one was George Washington's birthday, which we now know today to have been President's Day. Now, they wanted to move these holidays to be held on a Monday, and that happened in 1968. In 1978, the Veterans Day was changed to November 11th. Memorial Day had always been held on May 30th prior to 1968, and from that point on, it's always been held on the last Monday of the month. Now, I'm a retired military veteran, and I've had the great fortune of working with Joint Service Commands such as CENTCOM, SOCOM. I've had staff duty at NSA at Fort Meade, Maryland, and I can just tell you that it's a great honor to work with the other services as well. Now, I came in, I was sold on the Navy, because I come from a Navy background and everything. I figured that was a place to be, and I learned a lot in the Navy. But I've also learned a lot by venturing outside my corps and getting to know the other services as well. I know that the Air Force has its mission as far as aircraft goes. I know that the Navy has its mission as far as defending our sea lines. I know that the Army has its mission as far as protecting our country, both at home and abroad. And I know that the Marine Corps is willing to expedite and do what they need to do on land to make things happen. And they also travel with the Navy. The Marine Corps is an extension of the Navy, if you ask me. Some Marines might argue with that. But they know who pays them. The ultimate sacrifice, you can't say enough for that. Everybody that signs on as either an enlistment or as an officer has that commitment and has that obligation to, if called upon, put themselves in harm's way and make the ultimate sacrifice. Now, that ultimate sacrifice does not just affect the individual. Obviously, it's going to affect the individual, but so when you think about things this year, please think about the families that the loss of a loved one would affect. Those families go through so much, and they have to travel, they have to go from station to station, they have to get involved in the community. It's a hard to set up and go. You get your kids into different schools and whatnot. It's a little bit of a sacrifice that's hard to deal with. The Memorial Day holiday is recognized in various ways. A lot of people go to cemeteries, a lot of people go to memorials, a lot of people will actually raise colors. Those that raise colors, they'll raise them at sunrise and take them down, take it from held a half mast from sunrise to noon. And then one of the things that's been going on recently is the White House will host a concert that evening. And that's becoming a tradition I've seen go on the last few years. I don't know how many years it's going back, but it's becoming a widely recognized one of the concerts held on TV and everything. I think I think it's appropriate to remember those that have fallen and paid the ultimate sacrifice on Memorial Day. I also think it's important to enjoy our freedom. A lot of people will go out and have barbecues. A lot of people will go out and spend time with their families. I think that's what the service members that signed on for would want, personally. I think for the most part that's what they would want. They would want us to enjoy the freedom that they gave us. And so, this Memorial Day, I ask that you take a moment out of your time and just honor those and think about those that have come before. And I know there's going to be stories in the media about who made the sacrifices. Just please take a moment and pay attention to that, and just be grateful that we have them and that we have a great country. Thank you very much.